How's it going, everybody?
Hey there, Jason. You've been busy.
Tell me about it. Some would say too busy.
So you got a full house today. Everybody's showing up. Who had the first agenda item on the image spec? No one wants to claim credit. You're there. My headphones
I
are
think I
on.
might have been the one having the one regarding annotations. If that's what we're talking about, Brandon.
There was preparing image spec for RC4. So I don't know. Jason and Josh are doing other ones in there, but
That was me. We can, that two small PRs. And maybe Andrew, if you want to talk about your issue, if you need to drop early, we can do that.
I'm good for the half hour or so, anytime.
Sajay, you want to take it away?
Sure. So I'll try to share. Can folks see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So first one was let's see if we can do the quicker one. Does anybody want to comment on this one? Because I just left it without merging just to make sure. Bring it to the call.
I was only leaving it open just because I had approved it so quickly after you opened it. I want to give folks a chance, but yeah, if no one else has commented, I say merge it.
It's basically just removing this confusion, and it kind of like stemmed from Andrew's last item in the milestone. So there's like duplicated description and artifact created. That's the change. So just to keep it consistent, these two annotations will get removed, at least from the Go specs. Okay, thanks. That was quick. Let's get to. Oh, that's already image merged in. All right, this is quick. I'm happy.
People were busy yesterday.
Yeah. All right. This is for Andrew. So, Andrew, you want to describe this or?
We have a lot of annotations, some that go along lines for artifacts, some go for traditional image manifests. Is there a need to align on what those look like? Do we want duplicates? That's really what, this is looking at this 7 months old. So I know a lot of the changes have occurred in the spec. Does this still make sense? I know we want to move towards conclusion for this version of OCI. How can we go ahead and get agreement on what the next step should be?
I don't think there's any value in duplicating them. Like, I think it actually confuses people to be like, should I use artifact description or image description? The term image is like unfortunate and a misnomer, but that's if that's what we already have them all named as, we should stick with them, is what I think.
I almost see image as the name of the spec and less as the name of the object that we're defining with these artifacts, or sorry, with these annotations.
And I guess as long as we have good clarification documentation that is the use case, and I know people who will get that confused. So as long as we have that documented, that's really just the guidance that we want to make sure that we provide.
Yeah, if you could send a PR to add whatever wording you think would be helpful. I don't think it should block 1.1 because we don't want to add any more things to 1.1, but that wording would definitely be helpful if you want to take a look at it.
I can do that. If you want to assign it to me, I can do that.
Cool.
All right, that's all I had.
Oh, I think Josh, that puts you up next for is this distribution spec for everything? There are a few other specs as well.
Yeah, so yesterday sat down with Jason and John for a while and looked at these milestones and found that we're actually closer than we thought, and we're able to close things out, merge things, remove things that were outdated due to changes with related to artifact manifests and all that. So it's really like down to these two open issues. And who's still sharing? Sajay, do you want to pull them up, or I can share?
Sure, you can share.
Okay. One sec. So, so this is distribution spec. One is related to conformance, and this isn't a PR. This is that there's something missing from conformance. So, Brandon, I would like to sit down with you and go over conformance in the next week if you have time, unless this is already done.
Next week I have time, and it is not done as best I know.
Okay. And then we also just merged ROM had changes to add support for references to the conformance test. I think it's disabled by default. So maybe we can look at that together too, but that we put that in. This was the only one that seemed like required discussion, or if we want to punt on this.
Yeah, I thought this was originally going to be a relatively easy thing to get through, and maybe not. To generate discussion.
Yeah, I don't know that it would be a useful. It would be a good use of our time to like talk about this right now. I would rather take it out of the milestone unless somebody wants to object
Yeah,
to
the
that.
key that I was trying to clarify in this for anybody that doesn't have the backstory on it is that there's a lot of places where we say, I think, registry everywhere. And typically when it's implemented, it's by repository for a lot of the access request, querying any kind of digest, something like that. It's at the repository level, even in our API calls. That's how we do it. So I was
Yeah, I think
clarifying the
that's.
terms, and yeah.
I think it's important, but I think as people are waiting on the release, like the API endpoints and the data structures, I think is what people are looking at for the 1.0 to 1.1.
Yeah.
And it's not something that changes in 1.1. It's a clarification for 1.0, and I think, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so conformance, and then so Brandon, let's put something on the calendar for that, and then this is pretty, like Lockie's issue here is just a little bit meta of the milestone itself. I don't know. I guess it can stay there. It doesn't really. It'll be closed once we're closed. And then this is the one we just talked about. So I don't know if we want to drop this or wait for Andrew to put a PR here, but if we want to drop it, we could probably do an RC of image spec today. Or if Andrew, you want to do that right now, and then we can merge it and do an RC.
Yeah, I think we merged the PR to remove the annotations that mentioned artifact. I think the only thing remaining in this issue is clarification of the process, and I think that's outside of 1.1. Like that's again like the other thing. It's not something that has now regressed in this release. It's just clarification we'd like to make in general. So I would like to move that we remove this from the milestone and go.
Okay. How do I? Oh, I'm not a maintainer here. Can somebody hook it up?
Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
concern.
we took your power away.
I never had
do
it.
that.
So we're 14 minutes in. I would propose that somebody opens a RC image spec, sends out the email, and we call it early today, unless there's more to talk about. I would also be happy to live code conformance in the second half of the call if you want to do that, Brandon, and do a distribution today. And yes, on moving past, I think we've waited long enough, and I think most of the big stuff is agreed on here. So
on my own side, I'm not ready to hit my maintainer approve button on this yet, just because I want to sit down and spend some time doing some implementation on all the changes we've made lately. So I want to have a chance to do that and make sure that it looks like it works with some other tools out there that also implement it. So that's going to be my own goal.
Do you have an idea of how long that would take?
I'm hoping
box that to a week.
I'm hoping a week or two max.
Can we set a thing in stone somewhere that says after this date, Brandon no longer gets to hold up the train?
I'm all out of stones. I'm not necessarily holding the train up. I just wouldn't put my own thumbs up on the thing. So if you have majority without, or whatever our threshold is without me, you could always go ahead without me.
I think we know we need you, but
I would like to put out RCs again for the 4th time or the 5th time. And then if that RC works with your testing, then we can roll with it as the release, but I don't know.
I
Yeah,
would plus one that, Josh, because we're at ECR, we're iterating for each RC. So it would be nice for us to be able to build against an RC and then test. Otherwise we'd be waiting so we would delay our own testing by however long it took to cut an RC. So I would prefer that, if that's all right with you, Brandon, and others.
Yeah. So even short of doing implementation, I just want to spend some time to actually review the spec with a little bit more time just sitting down and actually reading through it and making sure we didn't miss anything. So by the weekend, I'll be ready with that.
So given that we don't have any more issues or any outstanding item to solve, can we at least call that this is the candidate for RC, start the email process, get the votes going? And you can probably even take, I think we'll at least have 1 week before we even cut the RC, but just start, get the process rolling. Is that okay? Or do you want to wait for that?
I don't mind if you start the process, but I wouldn't be the one that puts my own name starting it, because usually if I
Okay, fair enough.
started it, it's implying that I'm endorsing it, and I'm not there yet.
Fair enough. Okay, so looks like I signed up for something, because I think like what just mentioned is like getting the RC out will help some other implementations to take the new fields and whatnot, right? That's in the image spec, which they cannot take right now. So that would definitely help unblock it. Josh, is that okay? I'll kick off the email and create the issues.
Good, Josh, creating new issues. I thought you were solving all the issues.
Well, you're the one who needs extra time to review this. No, this is
Yeah,
this
but
is for your own for us to know. That's waiting for.
For me, it's I think it's a little bit kind of along Rom's comment there. You know, we're moving awfully quick, and I just know we've merged a lot of stuff within the past week, and so I just want to sit down and look over it and make sure it all looks right.
I think we're moving quick over the last week. I think we're moving very slowly over the last 3 years.
Oh,
So-
completely agree. Completely agree.
Like, if you don't think that you've had time to have input on these issues, I don't know what to tell you.
No, it is not that I think that we haven't had time to have input on an issue. It's that when we merge a bunch of things real quick the last second, it opens up a lot of possibility of we didn't realize that we added one phrase here, deleted one phrase there, and now these things don't necessarily read correctly anymore.
Yeah, another solution to that is to slowly merge them over the last 6 years instead of merging them in a fit of pique, or kick them out of the milestone, right? Like, they don't need to be changed. We don't need to make changes, but I can't help but laugh at moving too fast.
I just want to be clear. Are we not doing an RC, or are we doing an RC?
Josh, I think maybe you missed this. I was asking whether I can start the process. So you had created 1079 for the final review for the V1.1 release. There's no issue for the RC yet. So if you want, I can create the issue for the RC. Is that okay?
I have no powers there, but yeah.
You have all the power, and you know that.
I know how to nudge people with the power. Okay, what else?
no one has
Are there
anything
any-
to say, I might mention something that I discovered today, which I mean, I'm total newbie here. Hi, everyone. But I was just looking at I was just parsing some references and just noticed that the regular expression for repository names in the distribution spec doesn't seem to match the practice, the actual, this what's going on in the Docker reference parsing thing. So for specifically about separators, the original allows a dot, but the Docker thing allows like double underscores or any number of hyphens. And I just wondered what the policy is regarding that kind of discrepancy, which one kind of wins, because I don't know whether I should raise an issue or a PR or that kind of thing.
And are we specifically talking repository and not registry?
I'm specifically talking repository. I'm talking the name regular expression. I could point to the code. If that's...
We do allow an underscore in there. And
yeah, allow an underscore, but not multiple, not double underscore and not multiple hyphens. So see what I can
If you want to take a stab at that regular expression, I think we would accept that if that's what is reality.
I mean, it appears to be reality, but yeah. Yeah, what it allows, particularly a double underscore or any number of hyphens seems to be the reality.
If I remember some of that logic on the Docker side correctly, it allows some of those double cases, but not intermixing them. Like you can't do hyphen dot or hyphen underscore.
Yeah, that's right. So it's basically, an underscore. You can have a double underscore, but you can't have a separated directly followed by a separator. But it does seem to be the comment in the code for that is that in order to support valid host names as name components, supporting repeated dash was added. Additional double underscore is now allowed as a separator to loosen the restriction for previously supported names. I don't really get what that's talking about, but that's what the comment says.
I mean, I think the distribution spec should be a superset there, but yeah, it's just that regular expression gets complicated. So I'll go back to what Josh said if you want to.
It certainly is a bit more complicated, yeah.
But yeah, I don't
Sure.
think there's any intent there to intentionally exclude that.
Okay,
I think
cool.
there's also stuff in the Docker spec where they say they have a regex in one place and later on they parse it not just with the regex. There's some other code there.
Yeah, you're looking for separator there near the top. Yeah, there. It's used in the name component. I just know that I'd looked at the distribution spec and sort of my implementation. I was checking that everything fitted within the other the existing stricter regular expression. Then I realized that if people copy something from a Docker thing, then it might not be possible now, I guess.
I'm not going to pretend I'm good at regular expressions. So if somebody wants to port that into the spec,
I'd be happy to make a PR.
yeah, I think we might even have a test. No, we don't. Yeah.
Since you're here, Josh, I know there was a comment somewhere about us importing a bunch of stuff. Is it image go that we did this in? Yeah, we've got a bunch of image spec copied into distribution spec / conformance. And a question that had been raised casually in some other conversations is, why don't we just include image spec as an external package instead of copying the code over as a Go file?
So this was on purpose, especially during the I may have even been the one that copied it during the time that we were debating the behavior of conformance in the face of new fields. We wanted to have the ability for conformance tests to inject a new field to show like that the conformance tests, support or don't support an image manifest that has some extra thing. I remember having a weeks-long discussion about whether distribution spec should actually depend on real image spec versus other stuff. I think we should. I think I argued and will continue to argue that they should be separate. We should also like make it an internal package in distribution spec just so that somebody doesn't accidentally depend on the distribution spec copy of image spec. But
the other thing we could do is extend image spec, and so have like our internal manifest that has image spec manifest plus an extra field.
I remember that being discussed, and I don't remember why we found out it was a bad idea. But or I don't know, maybe it was a good idea and I just did it because I wanted to get something done. But yeah,
This is on descriptor that you did it, and it's not easy to, I don't know, it's not easy, it's probably impossible to extend a descriptor and use that in other objects. So that could be a reason.
I think a concrete action item is we should move it to internal or document that this is not the image spec you're looking for. But yeah.
The other 1.0-ish field, if people are looking for stuff to talk about, is the content length distribution spec 404. I can put this up on the screen. That's easier for people. Wrong thing to move to other screen. Second. This one's been out there for a while, and it's just going to take some digging through to see what the proper response is, but they're looking at, hey, if there is a patch request, content link can be omitted. I had one comment in there that I'm not sure if anybody here knows without doing some testing, which is what happens to the content range. Because content range contains the end of whatever your length is. And so without a length, what do you set for the range? Does anybody know that off the top of their head?
Is this not something that we could solve with just a pointer to HTTP spec language? Like this isn't unique to distribution spec, right? This is just whatever HTTP says, or if it says nothing, like it's not for us to specify.
That's my hope, and I just don't know what the right thing to do in this case is, and I don't know from here which, I need to go get the pointer to the other spec and figure it out. But everything else in here, we have defined that you need to have a range. The range needs to have this syntax.
Yeah, I think I would bias towards removing more of that and making more of it a pointer to authoritative HTTP specification, which is a better spec for everyone, including us who has less to maintain. But that's probably a bigger change. I would say let's not add anything to it. Let's point to HTTP, even in this issue, in this PR, if we don't even like change the spec. But in general, HTTP questions should be solved by the HTTP spec.
Josh, I think you're just hoping you'll forget about this because it's issue number 404.
Yeah, every time I look at this, I forget what we decided, and I get confused, and then I approve it and then I deny it. And so I would just like to not address this.
I feel like we should address it because apparently it is the default behavior that Docker uses for every blob upload today and in any kind of recent history. So it feels like
Yeah, I
documenting
think
that
we should
behavior would be a
accept.
good thing to do.
I think we should accept both and try parsing it Docker way first or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know what the Docker weight is for this field. I mean, we said the content length could be excluded, but we didn't say what the content range should be. And so without knowing that second half of that at all, I don't know what we want to do here. So my reason for bringing it up was to see maybe someone just knew off the top of their head, oh, when you have this, you just don't have a range or something. But I feel like you still need a range. That's all. Have I stalled for long enough for Sajay and Josh to start putting up some PRs and everything for all of us to look at and start reviewing? Josh looks very focused, so I'm guessing no.
Do you want to put up a distribution one as well? Even though we're not done with the conformance, or just wait?
I'm guessing we should probably wait to get that one
Okay.
more conformance change in there.
All right, I will. Let's try to meet on Monday or Tuesday if you can.
Yeah, those look good on my calendar.
All right, I think I'm gonna go eat lasagna.
I feel like Jason beat you to it.
See ya.
Chick-fil-A. All right. That it for the week. Everybody rolling out. Thanks so much for everybody coming out. And yeah, let's hopefully get this RC pushed not too long from now.
I had a thing on the agenda about can we enable some kind of or some sort of issue bankruptcy on the OCI repos. Going through the exercise with Josh yesterday, there were issues from like 3 years ago that if someone still cared, they would still respond to this issue or something. In general, I know the idea of bug bankruptcy is controversial maybe, but what do folks think? I don't have any power to put this in place, so I'm purely at everyone else's mercy.
When I looked at implementing this on my own personal repos, the thing that I specifically went to was not automatically closing everything, but I would put a tag or sorry, a label. And by adding a label onto there, that was my indication that I'm waiting for that other person to say something. Jason, are you with us? I know your audio went funny on there.
Yeah, sorry, my headphones decided to join the game.
Yeah. So yeah, the way I've done it on my side was I add a label when I'm looking for input from someone. And then that's when the Stalebot checks in and says, hey, if they haven't responded and it has that label, then I close it out. That way, things that we legitimately need to work on as maintainers, if we fail our job, it's not pushed back against the end user of, oh, now you need to resubmit.
That sounds good. I might also suggest in that vein a waiting for maintainers label. Looking at a lot of the old ones, it was like, you know, the originator of the issue and 2 maintainers think it's a good idea. We're just waiting for any 2 more of the 6 remaining ghosts on the OCI maintainer list to click a button. And if things sit in that state for a while, it should not be
the originator of the issue's fault. It should not be the two maintainers that were doing their job's fault. It should be like a ping on the ghosts. I don't know. I don't have a solution for it. I'm trying to solve human problems with technical solutions, but that is
I
one.
wonder if some kind of triage system makes sense. So
Yeah,
initially-
even if it doesn't keep things moving along, but just clears up the backlog of old issues. There were, discussion topics from before my time that still seemed like open discussions, but clearly no one is engaged in this topic. So it should be clear that this is not an open topic.
Fair point.
Just a suggestion. I have no power to change any policy.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any access. I think that would go up to LF to do their little flip a knob or something like that, but we need to tell them what we decided we wanted to do. The other one that was on the agenda that I completely ignored since we were saying goodbye so quick earlier. Runtime spec is going to be pushing for a 1.1 release soon. So just as a heads up for folks that that's going to be coming in the not too distant future here. Oh. And with that, I think we are actually out of all agenda items. I know we raced through this one quick, and everything happened quick this week. So any last things before we wrap it up?
Nope.
Ron, I can chat with you after the call if you have time. This was to just confirm the are we still continuing to toggle the version, or are we just going to do a single commit with RC3 plus dev on the SIMWare for the specs?
I would stick with the 2 commit pattern for now. The difference is the plus dev and without the plus dev.
Okay, so
But yeah, the plus dev I think is what we wanted instead of the minus dev. And
yeah, so main branch right now does have RC3 plus dev.
so it'll have RC4 plus dev when we finish this.
And the RC4 branch won't have the plus dev, right? That's what the idea.
It won't be a branch so much, it'll be an individual commit without
Yeah,
the,
one commit
yeah.
without that. Okay.
Yeah. All right. With that, yeah, feel free to ping me if you got any challenges, and have a great weekend, folks. And the rest of the week. Take care.
Thanks, folks. Bye.